10. Now, you might have seen this in certainly one of the papers this morning. The TUP have said the DUP and the UUP turned down the opportunity to form a unionist pact for the upcoming Westminster election. So Suzanne Breen in the Belfast Telegraph reporting that secret talks took place at Orange Order headquarters last year. And that TUV leader Jim Allister proposed that a new party be created to contest the general election. Now, the proposal would have seen former DUP leader Sir Geoffrey Donaldson leading the new United Unionist Party alongside UUP leader Doug Beattie and Mr Allister as deputy leaders. Well, earlier I spoke to TUV leader Jim Allister and asked him when these talks took place.
Well, after the council elections, I initiated a meeting with Sir Geoffrey Donaldson. Took place in Stormont in my room, and I laid out a proposal that for the Westminster election and the Westminster election only, because of its first past the post nature, that the three unionist parties who at that time were cooperating under the chairmanship of the Orange Order since the initiation of the protocol and have been meeting regularly on that basis, that the three unionist parties should literally put their heads together and come up with a proposal that for that election there would be a new single unionist party. The existing parties would continue to exist, but those who would fight the election would fight under the banner of a single unionist united party, that seats would be allocated on the basis of strength. In other words, predominantly there would be, since the DUP say, there are probably 9 regarded as safe unionist seats, that there would be a share out of those on the basis of party strength, the DUP probably having 7, the Ulster Unionists 1 and TUV 1, and likewise the other seats shared out on a basis of that type of equality. And that then further came up at a meeting in June under the chairmanship of the Orange, but that's when the proposition was shot down, and shot down primarily, as it turns out, by Gavin Robinson, who said that he, strangely, wanted to see an Ulster Unionist candidate in East Belfast in order to attract some votes away from Milan. So the very thing that now some people have been clamouring for, or the very thing that the DUP rejected just not so long ago.
Why did you feel there was a need for this?
Well, I thought, considering that under that process of the chairmanship of the Orange Order, we had got unionism to the point in the autumn of 2021 that we agreed publicly and signed a joint declaration of opposition to the protocol, and that was the umbrella under which we were operating, of unalterable rejection of the protocol. That the next logical step in pursuit of campaigning against the protocol would be to offer a single candidate in each constituency. Now, of course, things have changed since, because
a lot has changed since.
The DUP has become protocol implementers and have disavowed and abandoned the very declaration that we all signed, and have divided unionism as a consequence. Indeed, are aided in that by the Ulster Unionists. But at that time, it seemed the right and sensible thing to do, and I was disappointed that others didn't agree with that.
So break this down for me then. How many constituencies did the TV expect one of their candidates to stand?
Probably 2.
In 2?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Well, it hadn't got as far as discussing that, but the idea would have been to look at the constituencies in 2 batches. One, those that are most likely to produce a unionist MP, and to divide it up with regard to the strength as evinced in the Assembly election.
And in terms of strength, I mean, with respect, of course, the TUV hasn't fared terribly well in Westminster elections in the past.
Well, we were saying that if you wanted to unify unionism, and then you had to recognise there were at that point 3 strands of unionism. TUV had conquered 66,000 votes in the Assembly election, so it was a significant and sizable bite of the unionist vote. There's no divine right for any party to hold all the seats, and such an attitude is one which ensures that there could, by virtue of that attitude, be losses. So the attitude was to divide it according to party strength, and in that the DUP would have had the lion's share.
Had you discussed who would be standing?
No, there was no discussion. It didn't get as far as that. But the reason why I'm making this known now is because there has been a concerted effort by the DUP in particular to try and present some of us as those who were dividers of unionism, when the truth is they divided unionism by walking away from the joint declaration, becoming protocol implementers, and they rejected the opportunity to unify unionism.
I imagine you would have been one of them, Jim. Given your profile, you surely would have been one of them.
Well, that remained to be seen. I certainly wasn't demanding that I should be one of them whatsoever. I have a significant job to do in Stormont, and I was happy enough to do that.
A lot of people would say you've only got one MLA. That is you, so this would have been quite an opportunity.
It wasn't about opportunity. It was about creating an opportunity for unionism in response to a grassroots feeling of a desire for manifestation of unity, to carry forward what had been started with a joint unionist declaration against the protocol, to carry it forward then to the polls, and to afford people the opportunity of maximising that representation. It wasn't TUV that turned that down, it was TUV that proposed it, and now we're in the situation we're in.
Ian Paisley was asked to give his reaction to this, obviously, this morning. Let's hear from Ian Paisley.
I wasn't at the meeting. First I've heard about it when you put it to me. I suspect its characterisation will change considerably over the days ahead, because that's often the way with many of these things. But I do believe that if there's a proposal to say, see all your DUP MPs, they all have to resign and we'll select new candidates, and that's called unionist unity, that's not the way life works.
I'm sorry, that wasn't anything like the proposition. The recognition was that the DUP, being the largest unionist party, not only should have leadership of this one-event unionist party, but also would have the lion's share of the candidates, reflective of the fact that they had that position as the largest unionist party. It wasn't about DUP MPs resigning, but let's be very clear. Once an election is called, no MP holds a seat. They are not party seats. They are the people's seats. Immediately the election is called, there are no MPs. So this idea of some sort of divine right to hold a seat is totally in conflict with the very basis of democracy. You hold an election in order to let the people choose. And, you know, the suggestion currently that those unionists who are opposed to the protocol, who stand where they've always stood in opposition to the protocol, who refuse to accept our detachment from the United Kingdom, that those unions should have no voice, that we shouldn't be allowed to stand elections, that we should toady to those who want to implement the protocol and acknowledge some sort of divine right on their part to hold those seats. Well, sorry, that's the politics of fiction. That's not going to happen.
Jim, I want to ask you to react to what Mr Paisley said when asked about the overselling of the deal of Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, whether or not he felt that Mr Donaldson oversold the deal. Listen to this.
William Crawley asked Gavin Robinson a question on Talkback, which was this oversold? I mean, this idea now that we're being told that the REC border will go as opposed to the REC border has gone, was it oversold?
Well, I think Gavin has created significant space for the party to tell the story properly, and to allow for those of us who probably felt that there was a degree of spin in all of this, that we're back to a solid basis of truth.
Do you think it was oversold?
And the public out there want one thing from their politicians, and that's truth.
Yeah.
And I believe that they're getting that.
But do you think it was oversold?
Well, I believe that they're getting truth. I always was wary. I said, look,
they're
Geoffrey,
getting truth, so they didn't get truth previously.
I said, Geoffrey, the key thing in all of this is we tell people the truth. We don't oversell, we don't overspin, and we make it clear that this is a work in progress. This is not a finished destination. There's more to come, and I hope the best is yet to be in all of this.
So it's not finished yet, Jim. There's more work to be done.
I think it's quite clear that Ian was acknowledging that Sir Geoffrey grossly oversold the deal. You know, he told us the Irish border was gone. He told us our place was restored within the United Kingdom, and patently those two things are untrue. And I think there is an embarrassment and a recognition about that. But as for the idea that there's more to be done, the problem for the DUP is they surrendered their leverage. Their leverage was their Stormont stance. And once they've surrendered that, there's nothing more to come. There's nothing more for them to bargain with for the government. So they've now fundamentally accepted the two great issues that are detaching us from the United Kingdom. The fact that we are now under an EU customs code which decrees GB to be a foreign country. That's so incompatible with our position within the United Kingdom. And the fact that as a manifestation of that, there's an Irish sea border. Those two facts have now been accepted by the DUP.
That's not what they're saying exactly. They're not saying they accept that at all.
Well, that's the practicality of what they're accepting.
Jim Allister, thank you for your time this morning.